Today, millions of people use AI for almost everything: education, research, writing, coding, business, and countless other tasks. Tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini have quickly become part of our everyday lives. But have you ever stopped to wonder how much money these AI companies actually make every time we use their products? And more importantly, how much does it really cost to run an AI company at this scale? Because behind these simple chat windows is a massive billion-dollar business. So today, we're breaking down the entire business behind ChatGPT, how it makes money, where that money goes, and what it really costs to run AI. And trust me, the numbers are bigger than you might expect. Here's the short version before we go deep. ChatGPT's company, OpenAI, is now making about $40 billion a year. That's not a typo. $40 billion every single year, mostly from people like you paying a monthly subscription and businesses paying to use it behind the scenes. But here's the part that sounds impossible. Even while making that much money, OpenAI is still losing money. Not a little. Tens of billions of dollars a year. A company that most people think is printing cash is actually spending more than it earns. So how does a company make $40 billion and still lose money? To understand that, we need to start from the very beginning, because this company wasn't even supposed to make money in the first place. OpenAI was founded in 2015 by a small group of people, including Sam Altman and Elon Musk. And here's the surprising part. It didn't start as a normal company. It started as a non-profit, like a charity. The idea was simple. Artificial intelligence was going to be one of the most powerful technologies ever built, and the founders were worried that if only one company or government controlled it, that could be dangerous. So they created OpenAI as a non-profit research lab with a mission to build AI safely and make sure it benefited everyone, not just shareholders. For years, that's exactly what it was. Smart researchers doing experiments with no product you or I would ever use. But building cutting-edge AI turned out to be insanely expensive. We're talking about the kind of costs where a non-profit's donations don't even come close. So in 2019, OpenAI made a huge shift. It created a new kind of company structure that could still take in real investment money while claiming to keep its original mission. Microsoft stepped in and started investing billions of dollars. That decision, bringing in serious investor money, is the entire reason ChatGPT exists today. For years, OpenAI was mostly known inside the tech world, not by regular people. That changed in November 2022 when they released a free chatbot called ChatGPT, almost as an experiment. It exploded. Within days, millions of people were using it. It became one of the fastest growing products in the history of the internet. Faster than TikTok, faster than Instagram, and that changed everything about the company. Overnight, OpenAI went from a research lab with no real product to running the most popular AI tool on the planet, with hundreds of millions of people expecting it to work instantly every single day. Today, ChatGPT has over 900 million weekly users and crossed 1 billion monthly users in the middle of 2026. Just to put that in perspective, that's more people than the entire population of Europe using this one app every single month. So with that many users, how does OpenAI actually turn that into money? It's simpler than you'd think. There are really just three main ways. First, subscriptions. If you want extra features on ChatGPT, you pay monthly. The basic paid plan is $20 a month. There's also a $200 a month plan for power users who want the most advanced version. Millions of people pay for these plans, and subscriptions still make up a huge chunk of OpenAI's revenue. Second, businesses. Companies pay OpenAI directly to use its AI inside their own apps and tools. This is called API access. Every time you use an app that has AI built into it, there's a good chance it's quietly paying OpenAI behind the scenes for that. Third, enterprise deals. Big companies pay for custom versions of ChatGPT for their entire workforce. This has grown so fast that, as of mid-2026, business customers now bring in more money than individual subscribers do for the first time ever. Add all of that up, and you get that roughly $40 billion a year number. So far, this sounds like an incredible success story. Here's where it gets strange. Even with $40 billion a year coming in, OpenAI is still losing an enormous amount of money. In 2025 alone, the company lost close to $21 billion, and some estimates for 2026 put the loss even higher, over $30 billion. Think about that. It's not that they're barely profitable. For every dollar OpenAI brings in, reports suggest it's spending more than $1 just to keep the lights on. So where does all that money actually go? The answer is computing power. Running an AI model like ChatGPT isn't like running a normal app. Every single message you send gets processed by massive, incredibly expensive computer chips sitting inside giant data centers that use enormous amounts of electricity. And it's not just answering your questions that's expensive. Training these AI models in the first place, before they're ever released, costs billions of dollars on its own. Every time a new, smarter version comes out, that means months of running thousands of specialized computers around the clock. To keep up with demand, OpenAI has signed some of the largest technology deals ever made. It agreed to buy $250 billion worth of computing power from Microsoft. It struck a separate deal with Amazon worth around $38 billion, plus a potential $50 billion investment on top of that. Altogether, OpenAI has committed to more than $500 billion in future computing costs across multiple companies. That's the real answer to how does a $40 billion company lose money? It's spending on a scale that's almost hard to picture, because staying at the front of the AI race costs more than almost any business has ever spent before. Here's the part that confuses people the most. Despite losing tens of billions of dollars, OpenAI is one of the most valuable private companies on Earth, valued at over $850 billion, with some reports saying it's aiming for a $1 trillion valuation when it eventually goes public. How does a company that's losing money get valued that high? Because investors aren't paying for what OpenAI makes today. They're betting on what it could become. If AI keeps growing the way it has, and OpenAI stays at the front of that race, today's massive losses could look small compared to future profits. It's the same bet investors made early on with companies like Amazon, which also lost money for years before becoming one of the most profitable companies in the world. Whether that bet pays off is still an open question, but it's why some of the biggest companies on the planet, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, have all poured tens of billions of dollars into OpenAI, even knowing it's losing money right now. So here's the real story behind that little chat window you've probably used 100 times. It's not a small, simple app. It's one of the most expensive businesses ever built, bringing in tens of billions of dollars, spending even more than that, and still considered one of the most valuable companies in the world because of what investors think it could become. Making money and being valuable aren't always the same thing. Sometimes the most successful companies in the world are also the ones losing the most money on purpose, betting everything on the future. Did you know ChatGPT's company was actually losing money while making $40 billion a year? Let me know what surprised you most in the comments. The losses, the valuation, or how it all started as a nonprofit. And if you want more real breakdowns of the biggest companies in the world, subscribe, because we're just getting started.